No editing.
I've already hit start recording and I'm going to shut up now.
Oh, you're not going to see. James always gives me a 3, 2, 1. You know, you know James better.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everyone, to Hump Day Hymns, the July the 15th edition. I really had to go through some mental gymnastics. It was my spouse or equivalent's birthday on Monday, which would have been the 13th, and I still had to add 2 to it to make sure I was right. But part of that is for another reason. This is our first episode on our new format. We're going to the YouTube. Hopefully you know this because you're on it. And if you don't, please switch to the YouTube feed right now, and then you'll get the right. Never mind. So yeah, I'm gonna try this. The reason being, I'd like to have kind of a separate channel so that hopefully we'll have a little more control over the video and audio quality, and also so that you people who are interested in what I've been doing here, you can go to other episodes a little more easily rather than going through everything the church posts, which I know you go through anyways. So this is a way you can get to the specific of this rather than go through everything, including all the other. Never mind. Okay, so what I wanted to do today is I wanted to focus on one particular hymn writer, Charles Wesley. Charles Wesley is known as the greatest hymn writer of all time. He wrote over 2,000 hymns. It has been estimated to have that kind of output. He wrote 10 lines of verse every day for 50 years. I am lucky if I can remember to reply to an email within the calendar year, whereas Charles Wesley would have done it in verse and then put a tune to it. So we're going to focus, I'm going to focus on like 6 hymns. You probably will recognize all of them, but I want to focus on kind of a bit of subtleties to what a hymn is. So the first one I was playing as we started, in our church we use the verse, "Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing." This is what Charles Wesley wrote. I will sing the first verse. Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing my great Redeemer's praise, the glories of my God and King, the triumphs of God's grace. Jesus, the name that charms our fears, that bids our sorrows cease. His music in the sinner's ears, 'tis life and health and peace. And there are 5 verses that Wesley wrote, or at least five that we've got in our hymn book. But the key to this hymn, you may have seen at the bottom of every hymn, there is usually a capitalized word. In this case, it's Azmon, A-Z-M-O-N. I have no idea what that means. Asmon, it's French. It means Azzy's mother. No, it means my as. Never mind. But it also has 4 numbers. It says 8686. This is the meter of the song. So the first line, "Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing." That's got 6 syllables. Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing. There's 8. And then the second one, "My great Redeemer's," well, it kind of fudges Redeemers. My great Redeemer's praise. See, I don't like doing it with my right hand because I broke my pinky finger and it's bent and it looks stupid when I do that. But see, and so now if you write any melody to that has 8 syllables, then 6 syllables, these words will fit. People do this all the time when you're having fun with pop songs. You realize, oh, this song fits to the other. My favorite was, if you're ever singing Nirvana's "Smells Like Teen Spirit," it also works to the tune of "Hello Mudda, Hello Fada." Here I am at Camp Granada. Hello Mudda, Hello that. Okay, never mind. Also, a tune that is very rarely used in our church. So I'm just going to find, 8686, I'm going to find, so that should also fit to Amazing Grace, which is also 8/6. So, oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing, oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing, my great Redeemer's praise. See? Kind of cool. And so you'd end, so traditionally what happened in a lot of churches is that the congregation, they didn't have hymn books, probably didn't have any accompaniment. You'd only have like 4 or 5 tunes that the entire congregation would know. And so you'd pick texts that fit those particular tunes, and you'd learn them. And a lot of times it was done very much like you would have learned tunes in kindergarten. The teacher sings one line, oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing. The audience sings it back, and then go line by line. And then as you learn the text better, you start being able to do the whole tune. So, maybe a little more information that you could possibly want, but that's what I'm here for, is to give you the trivia that you so desperately need to go through your daily lives, so that when you're speaking to people at the grocery store through a mask, you can say, hey, I learned something interesting yesterday. So here's another Charles Wesley favorite. The hymn, the tune is written by John Darwall. But again, I think you will recognize this one. Rejoice, the Lord is King. Rejoice, the Lord is King. Your risen Lord adore. Rejoice, give thanks and sing and triumph evermore. Lift up your heart, lift up your voice, rejoice again, I say. The other thing that's cool when you have these tunes that you use over and over again is that you can find some different ways of playing them on the organ or whatever other accompaniment you have. This one has what's called a descant. So we have a couple excellent sopranos in our choir, and so often on the last verse you'll get them and they'll be singing a different melody, again, to the same thing. So here the descant is written. And unfortunately, I'm not a skilled enough keyboard player to play the melody and the descant at the same time. So I know you were humming it in your head and you heard it. It was wonderful. So let's move on to another Wesley favorite. This is Come Thou Almighty King. Is it? Come Thou Almighty King. So this one's interesting in our hymn book. If you have a hymn book at home, if you turn to page 314, so you get this version of the tune. Almighty King. Help us to name, to sing. Help us to praise. One God all glorious, ever victorious. Come and reign over us, Ancient of Days. Now, the wonderful thing is if you go to the facing page, page 313, you get another tune that actually I am more familiar with. So I don't know if the church I grew up in used this, but it's this tune. Come now, Almighty King. It's kind of cool. I'm going to play that one again. See, I was going to transition without talking there, but I fear dead air. I'm terrified of it. I can't let it happen. So, just in the fact that it took me that long to change from page 313 to 342, I couldn't stop myself. Sorry. So that's the servants of God. One more time. So you're probably already noticing that Charles Wesley, to get that many hymns out, he had a formula. And I mean, it's not just the text, but certain tunes work better with hymns. So that this particular one, which is called Lions, or Lion, Lyons, it's got the same sort of pattern. So three of the musical lines are almost exactly the same. Here's the first line. And the second line, exactly the same, and then a little change. And this is a standard hymn thing. Third line is different. So, and this particular tune has a brilliant little ascending thing. So. We've got some drama, some tension. Oh, what's going to happen on the last line? Nice little resolution. What's that? That's amen. We don't even need to sing amen at the end. It's already there in the music. It's implied. It's an implied amen. Implied amens are easier. You don't even have to say amen. It's all done. So again, you could call it repetition, you could call it laziness, except that it's also brilliant. It helps you remember the tune when there's repetition, but there's a slight variation. So that happens each time. But the first time it's, the second time it's, so going back to that first chord, and then the last one. I don't know. Am I going too far into the nerdy stuff? This is why I've gone away from the live streaming. I can ask a question like this. You can answer. I can't hear you. So I can just move on. Moving on. So I have saved the big hits. You save the big hits to the end. Who wants to go to see Chuck Mangione and have him play Feel So Good first? No. You got to wait till the end. I hope somebody got that. Sorry. So what are the big Charles Wesley the hit singles, the ones that got him on the pop charts? Well, so there's two that are what I'm going to call the big ones, the ones that you want to hear every year. So every year at Easter, what do you want to hear? Well, you want to hear that it's Easter and that dinner's ready. But you want to hear this one. Ready? So Christ the Lord is risen today. Now I have some additional notes I wrote about that. So that was written in 1739. So like any good hit single, it's lasted for, I'll let you do the math at home, but it's more than 200 years. It originally had 11 verses. 11 verses. Can you imagine how heavy our hymn books would be if every hymn had 11 verses? They would be 1,300 pages, and still in pandemic times, we would have to store them someplace. So, someone finally edited it down to a classic 4. Now, originally, okay, here's a little bit of trivia. In the Wesleyan Methodist Church, the first Wesleyan Methodist Church hymn book did not have this hymn in it. Losers. We knew better. Now, okay, so what's the original? You're asking yourself, hey, Mike, what's the original tune? Well, the original tune is the tune Landfair, and it goes like this. Ends with the right thing. So that tune was written by Robert Williams in 1817. It's pretty good, has a nice Alleluia, but it doesn't, it doesn't have the oomph. I'll try and play it right this time, see if that makes it better. It's pretty good. I like the Alleluias, But it's even in, oh no, it's in a different key. Never mind. That is a great tune. So that was written in, well, apparently the tune was written, it was written in 1708. But this, in our book, the descant was written in 1971. So it's still in classics. It's in the disco era. You probably noticed that of it. So that's what I would call the Wesley hymn. Now I'm going to put that as number 2 on his hit list. Number 1, can anyone guess what his probably most popular, best known hymn is? I'll leave it for a couple seconds while I change pages. So it's going to feel out of season given that we've been hitting temperatures of, close to 40 degrees on the Humidex. Maybe even 48, because this is hymn number 48. Nice segue, Mike. This is a tune, you want to hear this every Christmas. You want to hear it right now. The Charles Wesley hit. Hark the Herald, Angels Sing was written in 1739, and he requested slow and solemn music. So maybe you can play this and make it sad. See, I'm affected. Last week we had a jazz pianist, and I'm just making it slow and solemn by playing jazz. Yeah. That doesn't work either. But it was also envisioned as the same tune as Christ the Lord is risen today. They seem to, so. Hark the herald angels sing. And then I guess you put an Alleluia. Glory to the newborn King. No, that does fit. Hey, that's pretty good. So. Again, triumphant music, but once again, when you have a tune that has stuck with certain lyrics, then you kind of, so this particular tune for Hark the Herald Angels Sing was written by Felix Mendelssohn, and this was added about 100 years later, and it was adapted from another of Mendelssohn's work. It was written with, it has been in the Anglican, someone made a poll. This is one of the 4 great Anglican hymns, along with Lo He Comes with Clouds Descending. So Wesley got 2 of the top 4 in the Anglicans, and he was a Methodist. See? Take that. So one last time, I know it's hot out. Maybe if you sing along to a Christmas song, it'll make you feel better. Thanks very much. I did plan on doing this, and I'll do a very similar Hump Day hymns upcoming. Maybe when it cools down a little, and because these tunes all sound better on the organ, and frankly, they sound better when someone else is playing it. So maybe I'll bring in Ian again. But again, thank you for watching. Thanks to my friend Jeff May, who you won't be able to see unless we can figure out how to spin these cameras remotely, who helped it, no, he says no, who helped me set up this, and hopefully it's all going to work, and this has all been recorded for posterity. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, I have an excellent singer, Lisa Weber, who is going to join me. She was the Alberta president of the CGIT. So she's going to go through. She's gone through her CGIT songbook, and so we're going to sing some of the songs from her church past. And excuse me. And she says not only does she have a lot of great memories of singing this music, she can still tie a sailor's knot. So this is important stuff. Lisa Weber leads the Arnprior Community Choir, a voice teacher. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. A couple weeks following that, I'm going to have Laurel Ty, who is also a choral leader, does a lot with musical theater in Carleton Place, but was also a high school music teacher and principal. So I think what's going to be very interesting to talk to her about is this is a very challenging time for everyone in the music field, but in the field of education, the entire music staff of every school board in the world probably are going through a lot of gyrations trying to figure out how they can still teach music, given that so much of this is an airborne virus. So apparently, my friend Andrea Jeff's spouse or equivalent let me know that they'd rated instruments on how deadly they are at spreading the pandemic. The flute is deadly. Don't go near a flute player in this pandemic. Now, if like in 1776 the revolutionary leaders were like led by fife and drums, don't worry about the guns. Worry about the fifes. The fifes will kill you. I'm spewing this. I'm killing people just talking about the fife. To the church organ sound on my piano. Here goes. Yeah. No, this will be good. This will be the making of. We'll have one of those now.
Hit stop recording.
Well, it's up to you. I'm hoping you hit start at some point.